What is up, YouTube? Welcome to another day of Texas Sports Unfiltered, and welcome to the first day of Bucky and BK. He is back from spending 36 hours and change at the Atlanta airports after a wild weekend that carried into the week. The legendary Bucky Godbolt is here making his Texas Sports Unfiltered debut. And finally, Buck, it took a couple of days, but
Yes.
finally we've got our morning show here and you are back. And I know I'm pumped to have you as a big part of this thing. I know all of our viewers and listeners are pumped to have you as well. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you so very much, BK. And it is good to be back. And first of all, let me say good morning to the soldiers at Fort Cavazos, Texas, the soldiers in the state of Texas, and all those that fight for us each and every day all over this wide, wide world of sports and more. Thank you for what you do. It is appreciated. It is appreciated to you and your families. Thank you very much. But it is fantastic to be back in Austin, Texas. It's also fantastic to be with you and to all the listeners all over, not just the state of Texas, but the entire world. Thank you very much, man.
Absolutely. We are super excited to have you on board, Buck, and we are super excited that we are going to be doing this show together weekday mornings from 8 to 10 a.m. You can catch it live on YouTube. Obviously, if you missed the show live, you can find podcast form on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And we are still working on an app, and we should be able to launch it relatively soon, but there will be a way that you can consume all of our great content live in app form, so you can always listen on the go. We're going to make this as easy as possible for you guys to consume all of the great content that we've got on this channel, and it is going to be a ton of fun. And yes, every single morning, Bucky will give his love to the soldiers at Fort Cavazos and all over the world. So some of the great Bucky bits from your legendary career in radio are going to be a big part of this thing as well, which is super, super exciting.
Yeah, man, it was, it seemed like for the last week and a half or two that I've been retired because I was half into something and half out of something, if you know what I mean. I was, you and I had talked and making plans of what we wanted to do with YouTube and Trey and Kevin and being a part of something that's very, very is going to be very unique and very special and a lot of fun for folks and very informative too when it comes to not only Texas football but Texas sports and world sports. So I'm excited about doing it. This is a new stage in my career. I am not retiring. I'm not retired or retiring. This is more fun. I actually walked up the steps in my home and I'm in my office right now, one of the rooms upstairs here, and it's fantastic. And I know there's a little bit of glare back behind us, and that is Ricky Williams when he broke the all-time rushing record that's behind me. But we'll get some technical things. We'll get straightened up, and I've got all kinds of obvious memorabilia stuff like Priest Holmes jerseys, Gale Sayers, Tony Dorsett, some of my friends, and we'll be spotlighting those kind of things in the background. But there's some things that some kinks that we have to get out, and we'll get those out. But just talking sports, you and I, it's always a good thing. And talking life, it's a good thing because on this day I am celebrating 23 years of sobriety.
How about that?
That in itself is just the last couple of days in itself of not getting just dead ass drunk has been special for me from what I've been through. But the 23 years, I've first of all, I have to thank God because without that guidance, it wouldn't get done. There's just no way without the guidance of the Lord that this would happen for me, my wife, my friends, the Texas Cheaters, you, all the listeners to where I've come from and over the 25 years of being on the radio. I couldn't do that. My family, I couldn't do that without them. This would not be possible for me to be sober for 23 years because I was hitting it hard. I was hitting it hard, and I'm happy. I'm happy with myself for getting this done for 23 years. But without the right support, it wouldn't get done. And for those that are struggling with addiction, it can be done. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's a beautiful light. But don't find yourself in that dark hole. When I first was at the height of my addiction, I remember going to a wonderful place in Austin, Texas called La Hacienda Solutions. I went to a program there for 6 weeks, and it was an outpatient program. And I was there with some very young kids that were struggling with not only alcohol, but heroin, meth, you name it, they were struggling with it. And most of them, I'm going to say the majority of them, felt like I had to hit the bottom first in order to get to the top. And I just looked at him. I said, why in the hell would you want to hit the bottom? Why was there anything in your mind to say, you know what, why do that? And for me, I didn't want to hit the bottom. That was my plan. Is I was getting towards that part. And I said, why do I want to be at the bottom? Why do I need to hit the bottom in order to bounce to the top? Let me stop that. I have the ability and the means to stop it. Let's stop it now. I don't even want to know what the bottom is like. I just know this: there won't be a bottom for me, or I'm never going back to the top if I hit the bottom. And I've been very fortunate. I've never had a recurrence of this alcoholism. And the day that I quit drinking was the day that I quit drinking. I never drank again, and that's hard. It's hard to do, but you can do it if you have the right people around you. It's possible.
Yeah, that's incredibly well said, my friend. And you are an inspiration to me and an inspiration to so many people.
Oh, so you stopped drinking? Does that mean you stopped? Is that the deal?
Yeah, you know, I'm at
good for you.
What are you? You're at 23 years. I'm at 2 to 3 days, Buck. Like
that is so good for you, man. Wow, you are a martyr. I like that about you.
You like that? Yeah, you've inspired me and so many others in many a different ways. But seriously, I know your story has served as a model for a lot of folks who have gotten sober from drinking, from drugs, from all sorts of different addiction issues over the years. I saw it, man, working with you during my time in Austin with you. Like, people would text in a lot and call in a lot and just say how much you meant to them and how much your story served as guidance for what they were going on their journey. So congratulations, man. You're getting a bunch of congrats in the comments as well. People showing you some love, and rightfully so. 23 years, that is an awesome number. And yeah, it is great to hear that, man. And obviously we love you. So,
and by the way, BK, and thank you to all these people that decided to sponsor us and become sponsors of this show and this show all day long. We really appreciate it. I'm wearing my Austin Duck Adventures shirt right now. Duck Boat Paulie, thank you very much. Ride, splash, quack. You know, I had to get that in for Paul. So, and very soon, our lovely faces, will be running throughout Austin, 6th Street, all over the place, as a banner will be telling our time and our place to catch us every morning.
How terrifying is that? That you and me, a couple of radio guys, are going to have our mugs all over downtown and all through the lake, just on the side of that duck boat. That's a scary thought.
That is fun. At least that part of and hopefully we won't be going under and not coming back up. But I love Paul. I love what Paul has done for years and years, and that's been his business. And he's going to put us on the side of the duck boats. And if you've never had a ride on a duck boat, everybody at some time, I believe, it seems like has been on a duck boat tour, but don't miss it. They're very informative about, when you come to Austin. I think that's one of the pleasures of finding out about Austin is taking that duck tour. It's about an hour. You get on that thing, you go all over down 6th Street. They tell you all the historic parts of Austin, and then you splash into the lake and back out. It's a fabulous tour for those that have family members coming into town. So get on it if you can. And even if you're from Austin and you've never taken that tour, do so.
Yes,
well worth it.
Absolutely. So some programming notes. Ricky Williams, the legendary lifetime Longhorn, will join us at some point during the 9 o'clock hour today. So definitely keep it locked in. Make sure you tell all of your friends who are Longhorn fans to catch Ricky Williams. He's going to be joining us a little bit later this morning. We are super excited about that. And of course, you can catch Midday with Trey and BK from 12 to 1 a little bit later right here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. So this is the first day we've got the regular lineup, the lineup that you guys are going to see moving forward, with Bucky and I in the morning from 8 to 10 and with Trey and I in the middays. And we're working on a few other things behind the scenes. There might be a few more names coming to Texas Sports Unfiltered that we think are really going to excite you guys. So be on the lookout for that. All right, we'll get into plenty of sports. Of course, we'll talk Longhorn football on this channel. We'll talk Cowboys and Texans. We'll talk Astros and Rangers. We'll talk all of the big sports stories. We'll do some of that today, and we'll do plenty of that every day right here on this show. But Bucky, people have been following your tweets like crazy. Everybody has been asking us over the last couple of days about what the hell has been going on in your world. So, man, you went to your 50-year high school reunion. Maybe we'll start with that before we get to some of the travel issues you had trying to make it home from said reunion. But would love to hear how things went in Bethlehem, PA at the 50-year reunion.
Well, it was quite a reunion. These are people that I went to high school and grew up with, and people are really important in my life and helped mold a lot of parts of my early life from, from obviously from my senior year and my freshman year in high school all the way through into college, where these are people that meant an awful lot to me. And I wanted to see them because honestly, at 68 years old, this may be the last time I see a lot of them on this 50th. I hope not. I hope we have a 55th or I'm able to get there to a 60th. But I will not be traveling Delta Airline. I guarantee you that. If I have to take the Amtrak, I'll take Amtrak. But I'm not flying the skies of Delta and that Tonka toy deal. I'm just not. I'm not doing that. That was bizarre. That was not a good ride by. And they didn't take very good care of a lot of people over the last 48, 72 hours. And I know they do the best they can, but there are other ways and means of getting to places. Delta won't be one of my favorites again. At one time, Delta was my favorite airlines to travel. They were fantastic. Got lots of nuts and peanuts and good stuff on the flights. And now it was nothing. I spent the night in the airport. I got from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, which I was supposed to leave at 6 a.m. I left at 10. And they talked about weather. And I was like, what weather? I mean, I'm looking at it and skies are kind of clear. But once things get all screwed up, they stay screwed up. So I got into I got into Atlanta at 11:30 Sunday morning. I didn't leave. I didn't get home until yesterday at 2 a.m.
Oh.
2 a.m. I've been on standbys and everything. And I'll tell the story later about how I had to go into my bag of, I'm old. I need medication. My medication's at the house. You need to get me on this damn flight now. But being back with my classmates was an awful lot of fun. Good seeing some of my closest friends and dearest friends. My first tale was that on Friday they had a golf outing, and I didn't attend the golf outing, but I went to say hello to the guys and the young ladies there at the golf courses. Before they were getting ready to tee off, they were practicing. So I first thing I did that morning, I had a big old Bethlehem PA breakfast. So I went to a diner and I had 3 eggs over easy with hash browns, not little fried potatoes, but big hash browns with onions and wheat toast, 3 cups of coffee, did have a glass of water, some orange juice. So I had a real mixture going on. And then I went to visit my brother's gravesite, my brother Steven's gravesite. And when I got to the gravesite, my belly started rumbling, and I'm thinking, oh no, I haven't had a breakfast like this because I'm used to being on the radio early in the morning. I don't eat anything in the morning. I just drink coffee. And so my belly starts to rumble, and I am starting to go, oh no, I got to get in my car. I got to find a bathroom. And I'm not just pulling in convenience stores, and I would have, but there was between where I was at the cemetery and where my high school was, about 4 miles from there was no place to go. So I'd go pull up to my high school, Bethlehem Catholic High School. I pull up in there and I'm thinking, well, it's Friday. Some kid's working out or somebody's there early at, 8 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning. Somebody's going to have the school's going to be open. Well, this son of a bitch is closed. I mean, it's locked down.
It's summertime.
It's like a prison. I mean, you can't get in this place. And I'm looking at every door, and now my legs are crossed, and I'm walking real funny. I already walk funny, but my legs are crossed, and I got to go. And it's starting to rumble. So I see this dude on a lawnmower. He's on a rider. I pull over to him. He shuts it off. He comes over to me, and I said, "Listen, I'm an alum here. Class of '73. I'm here for." I'm like class of '73. Superstar. I said, "Is there a way I can use the bathroom? Get in to use the bathroom?" And he points over to the porta-potty. He goes, right over there. And I'm thinking, and I'm telling this story to my son, and my son goes, "Hey, good job there, Hall of Famer. They treating you well. 50 years later, you're taking a dump in a porta-potty." Well, at that time, it doesn't matter where I'm going. And so I park the car. I crawl over. By this time, I'm crawling now. I'm crawl over to the porta-potty. And I open it up. It's clean. I'm telling you, folks, this porta potty is clean. You can see the blue wave down below. You can see it. I mean, it's kind of moving a little bit.
The blue wave. What is the blue wave?
That's the water in there. They put that blue stuff in there, and so it's kind of waving back and forth. It looks sort of like a beach down in Jersey. I mean, it's it's blue, it's moving, and there's nothing in it. There's nothing. There's no aftermath from, Jose or Bill or whatever in there. And so I'm by now I'm just ready. I'm ready. I'm ripe and ready to go. And so I tell Zay the story yesterday. He goes, I hope you took some toilet paper and put it on the seat. I'm like, what?
You raw dogged it?
Raw dog. I'm going to the bathroom. I don't, if I'm not at my house, it's not like every place I go that I have to put a condom on a toilet seat. Like
You're not at your house. You're at a porta potty in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, outside of a high school, dude.
My ass, Joe's ass, Betty's ass. Who cares? I mean, seriously, who cares? I got to go. Number one thing is I have to go. And I wasn't going to hover over the blue wave and drop it and have the blue wave, the water come bouncing back and get me. I'm like, no, I'm going to sit down. This place smells good. The water smells good. The water's fresh. Everything's fine. It's like a day at the beach. And so I sit right down there. And then Zay reminds me, he goes, hey, remember the last time you sat down on something, you were at you're in Indianapolis. You and Hogan were at Indianapolis. And at the hotel, you sat bare ass on a remote control, and you came back and after that you had some kind of flu. He said, well, that's nothing compared to what's going to happen to you after you hit this porta potty. I'm like, oh no, the worst is going to happen when all these people that at the airport, when I went to sleep like a hobo at the airport, when I was laying my face on seats at the airport, now that's where I'm going to get sick from. I'm not going to get sick from the porta potty. I don't know if you can get anything that goes through the bottom all the way up to the top, but it was quite the treat. But my son let me know, goes, oh yeah, you're in the wall of fame in your high school, but 50 years later, you're in the porta potty on the premises of your high school, taking a dump. How great is that for your 50th year? Welcome back. Hey, Buck, welcome back. Go to the porta potty.
Yeah, that lawn care guy had never heard of you. He hadn't been in the building. He hadn't seen the wall of fame. He didn't give a rat's ass about you.
No, he didn't. He was just doing his job, and he wouldn't let some stranger with a cowboy hat come strolling into the facilities there at Bethlehem Catholic and alum, big shot, Mr. Big Shot. That didn't work. So
you made it to the porta potty though. No accident beforehand.
Nothing. Made it. Everything was like I told you. It was plop plop fizz fizz. Oh, what a relief it is! It was fabulous. It was absolutely fantastic.
Dude, I can't believe that the guy who taught me that you can't get ass out of jeans, right? You told me that you will never wear a pair of pants that have ever been worn by another man.
No.
You're so conscious about that area down there. This same guy is the guy who was raw dogging it at a random porta potty in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Dude, I'm not crapping in my pants. I'm not going to crap in my pants. My theory all my life is as I get older and certain things when you got to go, you got to go. I will crap in your car, in your trunk. I will lean up against the side of your car. I'm not doing that in my pants. It's just not going to happen. I don't care if they indecent exposure, whatever. I'm crapping in the woods in my neighbor's yard. I don't care. I'm not doing it in my pants. It's not going to happen. So I'll go in the porta potty. For all I care, that porta potty was cleaner than Atlanta's airport. I would have slept in there before I slept in Atlanta's airport ever again.
Oh my God, that is incredible.
Somebody's heat rises. But, it was
all sorts of comments.
But folks, it was not like Austin, Texas at 88 degrees at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was beautiful in Pennsylvania. Everything was green. It was amazing. It was nice. And I said it was like the Jersey Shore. It was like being down in Wildwood, that water, that blue wave. And I opened up the door of that porta potty, didn't smell. I may have been the first in. This may have been the first. That porta potty may have just got there that morning.
But
the waves were really nice in the bottom, man.
Are you about to go fishing in there? I mean, what are you talking about?
I had my rental car had wipes in it, so I got to wipe my hands before I went over to the golf course and started shaking hands with my former classmates. But it was a fine time. They did a good job, and the folks that got this thing all together for the 50th high school reunion at Bethlehem Catholic did a magnificent job. And seeing all my old friends and the ladies and the guys, it was really, really fun. You know what's weird about reunions though? There's always that cast of characters that weren't really in your class. How did they get to the events? I had my old buddy Hoofy, who was a year before me. I know he probably got held back 6 times or whatever, but how the hell does he get to go to? I'm like, you're not even in this class. Why are you at the golf tournament? Dude's at the, I mean, it's like a freeloader, like a bum hanging. I'm like, what are you doing?
You
It's like
get to,
I felt at that airport. I felt like a hobo. I wore this. I had the same clothes on for 3 days, and that's the same underwear, same socks, same shirt. And people are getting close to me, and I'm going, you don't want to do that. You need to keep a certain distance. But man, I had one shirt left though, and I was ready for one more. If I didn't get to here at 2 a.m. yesterday morning, I was going to have to sleep in the Atlanta airport for another night. And you don't want to do that.
So you slept on a chair at the
Yes.
Atlanta airport, or did you lay down on the floor and just sleep on the carpet?
I did not get on that nasty ass carpet. I just didn't. I just said I'll get my bad back, and I didn't have my relaxed back chair, but I laid, got my feet down, laid back, and there's this dude who was just absolutely snoring. He was just rock solid. It sounded like a wild moose had fallen, a car hit it or something. He was making all kinds of sounds. And it's hard to sleep at an airport. I mean, it's hard to sleep outside of your regular bed. It just is. And at an airport, it is not good. But they had a support system at the airport and when you got in the line, it was minimum 1 hour till you got to talk to somebody. I did this 4 times. So I'd been back and forth. And wasn't there a Tom Hanks movie about the dude that stayed at an airport and lived there for like a month or something? That's how I felt. It was not good, and they didn't do a good job. And I finally went up, and my wife was so worried about me. Joyce was so worried about me. And I mean, I've been around for a long time. I've been in some situations. I think I could take a couple nights at the airport. Didn't want to. It was not. I didn't want to live there. I didn't want to make that my home. But I had a couple good meals. But no thanks to the Delta Airlines. They never offered me. They knew people were going to be there for a couple days. They knew the weather was what they call bad, but they didn't. I never got offered a voucher for a meal. I never.
What about a hotel? Did they offer you a free night at a hotel?
No. From the first time to the 4th time I was there, I then on the 4th time my wife said, "You go there and tell them you put the old man thing on them," and I did. I walked up there and I said, "Listen," I said, I've been at this airport since 11:30 on Sunday, and I said I'm 7 years old, which I'm 68, so I lied. I added 2, had to, because this was that time. This was that whole time. I was on a standby flight, a number 39. If you're 39 on a standby, your ass not getting on the plane. You don't have a chance. You're not making that flight. So then I got back in that line again, another hour, and I went to telling them, you know what? I'm 70. I've been here for all this time. And let me just say this. Before I even tried to stand by, I was actually on a plane from Delta that was coming to Austin. I was on the plane. I boarded the plane. I had a seat on the plane. I got on the plane, and I was so exhausted, I had started to fall asleep a little bit. And then I kind of wake up and I'm like, wait a minute, are we in the air? Have we left dock yet? I didn't know if we left the port. And all of a sudden I hear the pilot go, he said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to deplane this, get out of here, because this plane has been, at the hangar for a number of days, and they've taken some stuff and fixed it, but they haven't put it back on the plane. He goes, I can't do this to you. He said, I can't fly this plane. This plane is unsafe. This pilot was pissed. He was like livid at Delta Airlines. I'm not even going to say who he is. I don't know his name, Captain Stubing or whatever. He just said,
was it we too low?
We too low. He said, we can't fly this plane. And so we got off, and I'm thinking, okay, they'll just put a substitute plane. Don't they have planes just hanging around there or something?
They're all over the airport. Like, I don't know why they don't use any of those. There's so many planes at every airport. And no, if you have to deplane, it takes like 10 hours to get a new one there. It makes no sense.
I know. And so I get off the plane. Now, I've done this before where they said, just stay around the area because we'll send in another plane. Dude, I got off 15 minutes later. They canceled the flight. And then the nightmare began all over again. That's when I went there and said, I'm 70. I need to get to Austin, Texas. And I gave them that my medication is running out. My meds, which probably
you should have just showed them your tweets where you're talking about nut cheese. Like that would have been enough to get you on that plane.
The cheese had already set in. I'd already slept in that gear, but I did have I got at least brush my teeth, wash my face. but the cheese still remained, and that wasn't dirty nails. I mean, that was nut cheese. I mean, I couldn't have anybody get any closer than about 8 feet from me. I couldn't have done that another day. That was horrible. That was horrible. I'm so pissed at Delta Airlines. I will not fly. Like I said,
Yeah.
nope. I will take an Amtrak from here to Alaska if I have to. I won't get on that. I won't get on Delta. Delta is like public enemy number one to me when it comes to airline. Whatever happened to Allegheny Airlines and U.S. Air? Whatever happened to those? I'm so upset about. I mean, I used to fly Allegheny all over the East Coast, and U.S. Air was like my number one travel partner.
Yeah.
And I mean, we had people that were going to get on Southwest Airlines to go all the way to Minnesota and then to Austin. I'm like, no, I don't want to get stuck in Minnesota. I'll stay here with all my brothers down here in Atlanta, but I'm not getting stuck up in Minnesota. I'm not going to do that. But what we need is that group called Alaska Airlines to quit just flying to Seattle. They need to get all over this country and fly not from just Seattle to Alaska, but they need to get real domesticated and get all over the place. So that was my adventure. It sucked. I've had worse adventures. I've never had a worse adventure on an airlines, but there's been things in my life that have been worse. That wasn't the worst thing that's ever happened to me. But when you pay your money and you want, somebody said you should have got your money back or you need to call up Delta. But Delta doesn't care about you. I mean, those people that were behind those desks, when the time came for them to eat dinner, you know what they did? They got right up and said, I'll see y'all. I hope you get a flight, but I'll see y'all later. I got to go to dinner.
Done here.
Yeah,
you're stuck. I'm not stuck. I'm going home.
I got to eat. I got some stuff to do. I got some kids to take care of. I got people to feed. And plus, I'm hungry. And it was, throughout that time, there was lunchtime. And those ladies and men behind that thing looked over and took a deep breath and said, it's lunchtime. I'll see y'all about an hour and a half. I'll be back. You ain't going anywhere in this line. This line's not going anywhere anyway.
Yeah, if you're willing to fly Delta Airlines again, I guarantee you could email them and threaten that you're never going to fly their airline again, and they'll send you some sort of voucher. But it doesn't sound like you're willing to give them another chance, and I don't blame you. And you could have Ubered home from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and gotten back to Austin faster than you did trying to fly.
And plus, there were no cars available at the rental places. I'm thinking that you and I now, when we're doing this YouTube deal, and Trey and Kevin and everybody who's going to join us, we need to start finding property at airports where they have rooms that you can go and stay in, like mini rooms where you could be there for a night, whether it's one bed or whatever, but little suites, that you don't have to pay $350 a night, Yeah, I can.
Good idea.
I can talk to Javier. We can get some friends. We can build in there. We can do some good things for people. And so they don't have to run off. Oh, we're not paying $300 for you to stay at a hotel near the airport. Hell, what you need is a hotel that's in the airport or beds in the airport.
Yeah, not a bad idea because people get stuck there all the time.
Oh, yeah. And if I'll put my ass on a porta potty, I'll damn sure sleep on a bed that people are come through. That's fine with me.
Ain't no blue wave in there, though.
The blue wave there was nothing wrong with the blue wave. I'll tell you that. There was nothing wrong with that, BK. That's just, I mean, as I said, good morning to those soldiers. We got soldiers fighting all over the world. And me sleeping in an airport, that wasn't that bad for my back or my legs or whatever. That was called an experience. That's all. That was just an experience. I don't want to do it again. I guarantee I don't want to pay the kind of money I paid to fly to that reunion to Delta Airlines for that experience. I don't want it, but it's not the worst thing that's going to happen to me.
Well,
it was good. It was okay.
Yeah, good. No, still glad you got to go. Still sounds like it was fun getting to
And I don't understand you guys in a porta potty. No, I'm not going to Goodwill, and I don't buy jeans at Goodwill. There's a lot of things I will get at Goodwill, but I will never put my ass in somebody else's jeans. You can't wash it out. It doesn't wash out.
You'll put your ass on somebody else's ass in a porta pot. But
ass on the ass is good. But I'm not putting those jeans. You keep thinking you're wearing them, and all you folks out there that go and buy jeans at Goodwill, I'll just say this. No matter how many times you wash it, you can't get ass out of a pair of jeans. So you can keep on buying them at Goodwill. Not me. I'm not. Plus, I don't buy cheap jeans anyway.
Yeah.
Everything else I'll do cheap, but I won't buy jeans.
All right, before we show a picture of you from your high school reunion, because you did want the people to see that, Buck, you have been talking about your Relax the Back chair. I would love for you to tell people a little bit more about what Relax the Back does.
I've needed support with my bad back for years and years, and I rediscovered Relax the Back. And let me tell you something, I get to live pain-free because of that. I'm sitting in one right now, as a matter of fact. And they've got the best chairs in the world. It's a healthier lifestyle, and I couldn't be happier. My back couldn't be happier. And their motto is live wellness. They've got massage chairs. They've got it all. Man, you can heal, you can recover, you can work smarter, you can sleep, reimagine, and live pain-free just like the Buck. Now, they're located in the Hill Country Galleria across from Whole Foods, and in Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center across from the Container Store. Live like the Buck, pain-free, Relax the Back. I love their chairs, man. You need to get one of those. We need to get you one too.
I do. Yeah. Once I move back up to Austin, that might be one of the first places I go is Relax the Back and get me a nice Relax the Back chair.
If I would have had this, I would have slept like a king. I would have been fine.
Yeah.
But the chairs at the airport, man, was that stuff? That stuff was hard.
Yeah, I believe it. I'll give a quick shout out to our guy Ish at 7-Eleven in Monterey Oaks as well. 7-Eleven is your go-to convenience store in the summer. They've got the Slurpees, they've got the big gulps, and hey, they can get your morning started with some coffee as well. All of your favorite snacks and so much more. Go to any 7-Eleven, but definitely go say what's up to our guy Ish at the 7-Eleven off Monterey Oaks in South Austin. He's a great dude, a good friend of ours, big Longhorn fan as well. He is going to take care of you. Make sure you check out the 7 Rewards program on the 7-Eleven app. It's going to earn you some free stuff, too, if you keep going in there. So big shout out to our friends at 7-Eleven and shout out to our guy Ish for being a big part of this show. Yeah, great dude. All right, let's pull up this picture, Buck, before we get into some Texas football conversation. And once again, we'll talk plenty of sports. And Ricky Williams, yes, that Ricky Williams will be joining us in the 9 o'clock hour. But here is a picture you asked me to share to the people of you at, I guess this isn't at your high school reunion, but this is the outfit you wore to your 50-year high school reunion up in Bethlehem.
Yeah, that's my niece. That's my beautiful niece who's going to her senior year in high school. And I stopped by my sister's house. And matter of fact, they had just come in from the Jersey Shore. And I was dressed up. And, I'm the brother of Clint Black. That's Bucky Blackie right there. And so I'm looking good. I walked into that reunion all Texas out, and it was, boy, all eyes on me. I mean, it was crazy. And I love my hat and love my boots and the wonderful folks over in Cavender's. I was decked out in my area outfit. I felt good. And of course my niece was looking at me like, who the hell is this cowboy? That's right.
Were you the only guy wearing a cowboy hat up there?
Of course.
Man.
Of course. That's your old uncle. That's the old Uncle Buck right there.
That's it. Are you the only guy who lives in Texas from your high school class?
Oh, there were a couple others from Houston, and they were so happy to get out of this weather here in Austin. It was 75, 82 degrees there, just absolutely beautiful. It really was. There's some wonderful parts of the country that are not getting what we're getting right now as we were going, I think, our 31st day of over 100-degree temperatures. So for those out there struggling, be careful. Really be careful with this heat. It's oppressive. It can get on you, and it can get on you in a hurry. And it doesn't take hours out there right now, BK, to get on you. And for all you guys working in construction and people doing things outside, make sure you hydrate yourself and get those electrolytes in you, and not just water, but some of the other stuff out there. For me, I'm upstairs, 18 steps to get here. I didn't have to get up at 3:30 in the morning, and I would have done that to be with you, but it is nice to be with BK right here in my own home. And I'm so looking forward to doing this. I really, really am. And I know I like to babble on about my life stories, but I've got some great stories. And I know you want to get to sports and everybody out there, but I'm excited about the Texas Longhorns football season, BK. I'm excited. I'm excited about, guess what? The Dallas Cowboys and the NFL in general. Okay. And I'll just say this, the NFL, these people have been spending so much time talking about how they wanted to get involved in gambling, but there's so many guys that aren't playing because they've done a betting here and there. They've been to Vegas and they're doing these online betting deals and they're not playing. Yep. They don't even care about drugs anymore in the NFL. It's about gambling.
Yep. They are very hypocritical.
Go ahead and snort it up and smoke it up. But hey, if you gamble, you got a problem with us now.
Yeah, it's pretty hypocritical, isn't it? Right? Like
Yeah,
every commercial break when you're watching games on Sunday, you see an ad for DraftKings or
sure.
FanDuel or one of those sports books or some Vegas casino out there. And they're making so much money off of gambling endorsements. And yet, yeah, the players can't participate at all. So you're right. I mean, sports leagues, this has been a thing forever, Buck. They care about the integrity of the game and they want fans to think that the sports are fair. They don't want fans to think that a bunch of cheating is going on, even though cheating in sports have been synonymous for hundreds of years. Right? People have always tried to do something to gain a competitive advantage over somebody else.
Yeah, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah, the professional leagues, they just don't want people to know that cheating is going on. So they feel like, all right, if the players are betting on games, then there's a chance that they're throwing
Sure.
games and that's going to mess with the integrity of the game. But you're right. There's a ton of hypocrisy going on with the fact that the NFL makes millions, if not billions of dollars on those deals. And yeah, every time a player tries to get involved, they get popped with a suspension.
And the other thing, BK, that's going on all over this country. I know high schools are back at it right now. Colleges are back at the Texas Longhorns have been at it for over a week right now practicing. But that first meeting that I've been part of for a lot of years at the college level, and I've got to believe it had to happen at the high school level, is about hazing. That is now at the pro level, those guys make enough money. They do all kinds of freaky things to each other and just move along. But in college and high school, it has got to be I'm going to say right away, it's probably the number one thing talked about. You know, they're not talking about gambling in high school and in colleges, or a little bit of it, but they're talking about the hazing deal that's going on. It's really, it saddens me that, you know, some of the small things have turned into just erotic, stupid, poor natured, you know, disgusting things that we've gotten to the point of thinking that it's a part of becoming a part of a team. Well, it really isn't. It's not, it doesn't make you a better player. It doesn't make you a better teammate. It doesn't build up camaraderie. What it does, it breaks down the fabric of your football team and it breaks down the fabric of your society. Some of the stuff these guys are doing to each other. I mean, these things stay in your memory for a long, long time. It doesn't go away. And speaking of 50th high school reunions, mine was a very simple deal. I never thought of it as hazing, but I had to put that banana in my tailpipe, in my gray shorts, and during the course of, you know, when school started, that was part of being with the team. It was something that I never thought of as being very bad. I had to put a banana in my rear end and walk through the line with a tray. And if the banana fell out, I had to go back to the beginning of the line and stick it in there and walk again. And it didn't seem like hazing, but now at this part, if I would have said no, that's all you need to do. If somebody says no, first of all, don't even do it. But if somebody definitely says, I don't want to be a part of it, I can't do that.
You had to put Trey Elling in your tailpipe. Am I hearing that right?
No, that dude won't fit in my tailpipe for sure. But a banana was walking down the aisle, squeezing those cheeks and getting my food from the lunch ladies, and then making it over to the table, and then you get a clap, and that was it. That's as bad as it was in my high school. That's all it was. And that was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And that today is a little bit different than a bunch of soaped up naked offensive linemen that you got to walk through. It's bad. It's disgusting. It's not a part of anything camaraderie wise. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't build anything up. It just breaks down. Everybody's not the same. You know, I've always had to talk about this with, I remember talking to a group at Vandergrift of fathers about, you know, there's going to come a time where your son's going to have to go into a shower. It's not like the young ladies. You don't get individual showers. You're going to have to walk in the shower with other young guys.
Yeah.
And everybody's not going to be built the same. Everybody's not going to have the same, a lot of things. And when you walk in that shower, there are going to be those that will just take a shower, but there'll be those that are going to notice something different about you, and they're going to talk about it. And there are kids that won't go in a shower. There were young guys and going into their sophomore years. Well, I don't shower at there. I'm like, why? You're a dude. I mean, you just go in and take your shower. You want to be clean. No girl wants to be around you. You like young ladies, don't you? Well, yeah. Well, dude, take a shower.
Yeah.
You know, if you got to go through, you know, your classes or depending on how, you know, you have your sports and stuff, take a shower. Don't be afraid to go in there with guys. Take that shower. But they kids are worried about what will happen to them, what another kid will say about them, and part of that is life. That's what kids do to kids. But grown men in college doing those things and making another grown man feel uncomfortable or
Yeah.
you won't fit in, I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, look, you can't get away with what you used to be able to get away with, right? I mean, whether you should have been able to get away with it in the past or not, that's
That's right.
obviously up for discussion. But obviously, times have changed, and yeah, I think with what happened at Northwestern very recently, everyone's attention has been heightened on stuff like this. So now there's going to be more people paying attention to hazing incidents at colleges and high schools all over the country, all over the world. So yeah, I mean, we've obviously had a few incidents over the last few years that have popped up, but it feels like this Northwestern one is has become such a big story, not just in the world of sports, but it's kind of crossed over
Right.
that line and become a massive news story over the last couple of months as well. It sort of feels like, look, I'm not going to sit here and act like hazing is going to completely go away. Like it'll never completely go away.
No, I
But
don't believe it will.
it sure feels like, and this was obviously the hope, I think, with all of the coverage that that incident in Evanston was getting. Sure hopes like that's going to make some sort of an impact and maybe deter some kids from trying to indulge in some sort of activities like that. Because you're right. I mean, I feel like nowadays it does more breaking down than building up. And a lot of people are just a little nervous and scared to join football teams and join sports teams because they don't want to have to deal with the crap like that.
Yeah, we beg for all the kids, the meek and mild kids to get into the game of football and get into the game of basketball, join in these extracurricular activities, join in, be a part of that group. Okay, well, make them a part of it. You don't make them a part of them, make a part of it by having them do things naked and act like idiots over the top of them. I mean, that's not asking them to be a part of the group. That's more separating than anything. And it's embarrassing. It should be embarrassing to those that are doing it. And it should be embarrassing to the programs that let it happen. And I'm going to guarantee you there is not a coach in America at a college level right now that's not having that first meeting, and that's a part of the first meeting. They're talking about that. They're talking about when you leave this meeting, you juniors and seniors, you better not do that to the freshman kids, or you're going to lose your scholarship. You'll be out of here. They're being very, very careful, and even at the high school level, where it really, really should start, is that. And as I said, for dads and mothers that they've got the shy ones, get in that shower. You're just as much of a man or a woman or wherever you athletic endeavor you're in as anybody else. Just go take your shower, get clean, and get out.
Is that your tip for kids in the car line this morning, to go take showers with other kids?
No, no, they don't have it. But you know how our showers are. I mean,
Yeah.
we grew up in the time where, I mean, if females had their own little separate showers with curtains, oh, it's just a big old shower now. We all get together and soap up and get the hell out of there. I just want to shower. I'm not interested. I'm not in there for measurements or anything else. I'm in there to shower, get clean, and get out. I'm not a obviously I go in a porta potty, but I'm not a long bathroom person. When I go to the bathroom, although the last couple places I've been, I do say hello to people beside me at the urinals. I have that habit of trying to get a conversation going, and nobody wants to with me. I'm just saying, how's your morning going? How's your day looking? And guys, and people are looking at me going, dude, can I just piss and get out of here? Why are you talking to me?
What, are you
I'm like,
taking a look at the guy's watch too? You
no,
looking over there?
I don't look over. I just head forward. I'm straight ahead, but I'm talking like, how's your day? A lot of people don't even want that. People don't want you talking to them in the bathroom.
No.
Much less going toe to toe with them in the stalls. They don't like that stuff.
No.
So I get out, do business, and go. And I wash my hands. And then I get out of there.
There you go. Yeah, I honestly think the last two things we've talked about are probably the biggest off the field conversations that are going on in college locker rooms these days, right? With the gambling. Hey, don't gamble, because that could get you in trouble and that could get all of us in trouble.
Absolutely.
And also no hazing, because that could get you in trouble. That could cost you your scholarship. And obviously that could hurt the team in a big, big way. So yeah, those conversations are happening all over the country right now, because those have been the two biggest off the field issues that have plagued football at every level over the last few months.
And if you're a parent and you've got an athlete at a place and you can tell as a parent what's up with your kid. If there's something up, it's just like bullying. If there's something up with your kid that's out of the ordinary, and they're being quiet and real reserved about things, and they're not that kind of kid, you need to ask them. And I would say to the young kids, go let your parents know what's going on. Let them know. Let them handle that with the coaches. If you can handle it, that's fine. But a lot of times that stuff is, you don't want to be a squealer. No, you don't want to be uncomfortable. You want to participate like all the other kids. So be able to participate, let somebody know, and all that bull crap will stop. They'll just stop it. Now you can, you're going to take your razzing that you weren't the guy that had somebody stick a banana in your ass or something like that. But guess what? You'll go on, and if you're good enough, and you play good enough, and you're a team guy, and you're there cheering and whatever, if you're the fifth string guy and you're a part of that team, they'll forget about that. That'll go away.
Yeah.
But some of the scars of some of these kids that are doing right now, BK, some of these things won't go away with them. It just won't. People are so different.
Different era, different generation. I mean, how about this story out of Washington, right? Eric Bieniemy, first-year offensive coordinator with the Commanders. Of course, he was with the Chiefs for a number of years as Andy Reid's right-hand man. He gets the opportunity to go somewhere else. And, you got Ron Rivera coming out and saying that players are concerned with how intense this guy is. Like, I don't know if that has anything to do with hazing. I don't think that it does, but it's just a different group of players, man. This generation is a little bit different. And some of the stuff that might be classified as old school that you could have gotten away with in the 80s, 90s, hell, even in the 2000s, that stuff isn't going to fly. And it doesn't matter if it's high school or college, because clearly, NFL guys aren't the same in terms of the way they like to be coached.
Yeah, you as a coach, you have to change with your players. You have to change with the times. That's where they do it all the time. We don't, we're still not going 3 runs in a cloud of dust and then punting the ball on every down in the NFL. But I'm going to give Eric Bieniemy the benefit of the doubt. This is a 2-time Super Bowl winning, offensive coordinator. He understands how to win. He's been coaching like this for a long, long time. There's some things that some guys just, you're an NFL, you're not a kid anymore. This is your livelihood. And you can't take the coach who's a little loud. I mean, if the coach is totally disrespecting you, that's different. But if the coach has that mentality of being hard on you, wanting the offense to get back in the huddle, one of the deals was they broke the huddle real slow, that lethargic kind of deal you see on Sundays midway during the NFL season where guys are a little tired. Well, this is now at practice. So they broke the huddle real sloppy, and he screamed at him to get back in the huddle. Let's go. I see that in high school football. I still see it in college football. That's something that you don't put up with. You don't put up with sloppiness and laziness when you leave the huddle. You've got a mission when you leave that huddle, and you want everybody on the right page. Well, leave the huddle with a little bit of enthusiasm. And his team didn't do that with the Commanders, and guys got all upset about him yelling about that. I'm like, come on, guys, you make millions of dollars. You're going to scream about that? Your team sucks. I mean, this guy's a 2-time Super Bowl winner. I mean, the guy wins for a reason. There's a reason why he does it. He's not going to change. By the way, Ron Rivera, you got one that's not going to change. You guys are either going to do well. He's going to have your job, or maybe maybe another reason is why Eric Bieniemy doesn't get some of these gigs.
I was going to say, man, like you hear stories like this, and whether you are on Eric Bieniemy's side or not, you hear stuff like this and you're thinking, all right, this might be the reason why a guy who has the resume that Eric Bieniemy has. I mean, Buck, it's been a huge storyline over what feels like the last 5 or 6 off seasons. The fact that Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten an offer to be a head coach anywhere else, despite the success the Chiefs offense has had under his lead. Maybe you're starting to realize why. Like maybe some teams saw this during the interview process. Maybe there were some stories out there about Bieniemy doing stuff like this, and owners and general managers didn't want to take a chance on this type of guy nowadays.
Yeah, because they want to protect the player. Let's protect our players. We don't want the players upset. We don't want them to get coached hard. That's maybe too much on them. And I mean, I'm not out there on the field, but I'm just, from what I'm hearing, is he's a little hard on the offense. I mean, this guy had Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback. I mean, he had some pretty good players at Kansas City. By the way, if they can take it and do what they did, the Commanders ought to be able to take it because they suck. I mean, come on, y'all. Really? Don't you want to give yourself a chance to be good and have somebody hard on you for a little bit?
Every team should be trying to copy what the Chiefs have been doing, Buck. They've been the best team. They've been the most consistent team in football over the last half decade.
Why not give it a chance and quit bitching and complaining about it? Just roll with it for a while and see if it works. See if you win some games. See if you can get to the playoffs, instead of worrying about, oh, he's too tough on me, Come on, guys. I found that to be, but it doesn't surprise me that, because I had been trying to figure out for years, why doesn't Eric Bieniemy have a head coaching job? He's got a fantastic resume, And if this is the deal that's holding him back, shame on some of these owners. But I'll say this, if the Commanders get some wins and that offense starts to perk up a little bit, somebody's going to say, well, I got a bunch of these little candy asses on my team too. I need to hire this guy as the head coach, because if it's working for the Commanders, maybe it'll work for my organization, you know?
Yeah.
But can it hold you back? Yes.
Yeah.
Because guys are they getting softer? I guess yes, but I don't know. I just don't think they've given it enough time before all the complaints come about that this guy is a hard ass. I think that's way too soon.
Right. It's the first off season, and we haven't even gotten to the preseason
No.
yet, and all of this stuff is coming out. Thank y'all so much for watching today. Please like this video if you haven't yet. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. Bucky and I are going to be on live every weekday morning from 8 to 10. You've got Trey and BK coming your way every weekday midday from 12 to 1. We've got a ton of other surprises in store here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Also check us out on Spotify and Apple. We will podcast every single episode that we do. And we've got an app coming to the iPhone and the Android. So be on the lookout for that. But before we talk some Longhorn football, I would love for you to tell the people about audio visual consultations and our buddy Tom McKay. I think all of us know about the great work that AV Consultations has done over the years, and they've hooked you up at your house out there down in the Drip too.
Oh, yeah. I've got a big 85-inch screen TV here, and you can too. As the football season starts to get closer and closer, they've got everything you need to have the entertainment system of your dreams, and you don't have to shop for the TV and then get the surround sound, and they get all the mounts and all the equipment necessary in order to make it all work, because Tom and his guys are going to come out to your home and they'll do it for you. Don't try this yourself. I've done this before. I've got plenty of holes in walls where I've tried to put up a unit myself, but Tom McKay Audio Visual Consultation is the largest dealer, one of the largest dealers of most televisions and audio brands. They have all the hottest items in stock. That's important. It's in stock. You don't have to wait around for a month, or they're going to tell you it'll be here in 6 weeks. They've got it in stocks. Most of those units that are available, especially that Sonos gear, Tom has it right there for you. And the thing about that is they're not raising the prices either on Sonos equipment. A lot of people are raising prices, and Tom McKay and Audio Visuals, they're not going to do that. Give them a call today at 512-255-8678, or you can catch them online at avconsultations.com.
There it is. Thank you very much, Buck. All right, the preseason coaches poll was released earlier this week, and I would love to get your thoughts on where the Longhorns are ranked, Bucky. They came in at number 12. They are the highest-ranked team in the state of Texas. They are the highest-ranked team in the Big 12 Conference. No surprise who's number one, the two-time defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs coming in at the top of the list, followed by Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, and LSU. There's your top five. We'll get to some of the other schools in a second, but your thoughts on where Texas is? Too high, too low, just right at number 12?
I like it just right. I thought from 10 to 12 that would be okay for their rankings. They've got a lot of talent. Steve Sarkisian has really recruited well over the last 3 years. This is a group that is now you don't hear them talk, which I like about Sark right now. You don't hear a lot of this. Oh, we're very young, which they are, but he doesn't sit back on that and say we're a young football team. He just says we're a football team that's ready now. He feels like this group looks an awful like what he wanted this team to look like: size, speed, special players at special positions, an offensive line that I think will, over the next 2 years, will become one of the best in the nation. I think he feels very confident about it. Quinn Ewers, I think, now is at that point of his life and his career that he is now going to be a leader. I think a lot was put on his shoulders last year, BK. I thought it was too much, too soon. He hadn't played an awful lot of football. I didn't play any at Ohio State. He just watched. He watched great players around him. And there's a lot of things that can happen for people to watch. You can learn an awful lot about from film watching and just being on the field and being around those type of athletes. And he got an opportunity to sit there and watch at Ohio State. But when he came to Texas, to throw him into the fire right away, I thought it was a lot of incompletions, a lot of inconsistency with his footwork. And now I think he's to the point when you see him in that media days, at Big 12 Media Day, he looked like a young man who was physically, mentally ready to now put it on my shoulders. I think I'm at that point now where I can take that kind of pressure. And I think this football team will lean on him. I'm not saying just abandon the run game, but I think he's at the point of his life and his mental stage as a quarterback to handle the kind of pressure that he wasn't able to handle last year. That you had too many good players in the backfield not to put that on them last year. I thought you leaned too much on what you thought philosophy-wise was a good thing. Let's throw them bombs. And they spent so much time trying to throw them bombs that they should have been handing that ball off to those two great running backs that they had last year. And they put too much pressure on the quarterback too soon. I'm not worried about Quinn Ewers this year. I mean, I worry for the team because he has to be at his best in order for them to win. I don't care how good they are, how well they recruited. The quarterback is the important part, and I think he's ready for that. I think he's ready to take that on, and I think he has some young guys behind him that if he doesn't get it done early, that need to be getting in the games early and playing.
Yeah, in a perfect world, we don't see Malik Murphy or Arch Manning this season, except in mop-up duty, right? Like if Texas is beating Rice, 49-0 in week 1, then okay, yeah, let's see what Malik Murphy has during an actual game. And hey, maybe let's get Arch Manning a couple of reps during an actual game to see what the future of the quarterback position looks like at the University of Texas. But now in a perfect world, Quinn Ewers, number 1, stays healthy all season long, right? Obviously, he broke his collarbone in the second game of the season last year. That caused him to miss a few weeks, which sucked. And number 2, the hope is he's consistent because you said it, Buck, he wasn't consistent enough last year. In the first half of the season, we saw that quarter against Bama. We saw the game against Oklahoma. There were some moments where it's like, oh, no, this guy is everything that he's been hyped up to be. And it doesn't matter that he's basically a true freshman. Now, this dude's an absolute stud, and we're set at the QB position for the next couple of years. But then the second half of the season happened. And I think about that game in Stillwater where Quinn Ewers had like 14 overthrows and he just looked lost. I mean, he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Like, it was a bad performance from Ewers. And we saw way too much up and down from him over the course of his 2022 that, for Texas to get to that Big 12 championship game, Buck, and ultimately win that Big 12 championship game, which should be the goal of this team this year, they need consistent play from Quinn Ewers week in and week out.
I would be very, very disappointed if the Texas Longhorns don't play in that game. Now, winning that game, once again, anything happens in the championship game. But you have to get there. You can't be a innocent bystander in the Big 12 at the University of Texas this year. You have to be in that game. Everybody wants you to win that game, but you can't not be in that game. You have to be in that game in order to move over into the SEC in 2024 and be ready for a week in, week out games like that. You do. Or to me, if Texas doesn't play in that game, then they go into the SEC, to me, as Mississippi or Mississippi State. That's where I would rank them, as those two teams. Yeah. No better, maybe no worse, but no better than a Mississippi or Mississippi State, or maybe even Auburn. That's all they would be to me. You have to you have to be in the Big 12 championship game, and you're going to have to rely on everything. And for Steve Sarkisian, this guy is going to have to win games himself. There are going to be times where the football team is going to have to rely on the head coach in this year to win 2 games, whether it's against Tech or Baylor. It's going to be his play calling and the way he's formed this team that we're going to look back at the end of the season or even during that time and say, or after the post game and say, Sark just won this game for us. Yep. His play calling. And of course, everybody still has to, you still have to do all the right things. Every player has to do his part. Execution will be important. But I want to see 2 games this year where instead of me going, damn, Sark should have run the ball there more in the fourth quarter when they had a little bit of a lead. I'd like to be able to say, man, Sark won that game. His play calling and that execution won the game, and I'm going to put this winner on the coach. I want to give him 2 games this year out of this season where I can actually say this is about coaching right here. They executed, but the coach called the right play. This was the right time to run the football. It wasn't the right time to throw it, and he did it, and it worked for us. It really did work. It wasn't one of those you look back on it and we start talking about you should have given the ball more to such and such, or Brooks should have carried more balls. I want to be able to say Sark won the game and feel good about saying that. And then people can argue with me about that at a post game or whatever and say, no, he didn't. It was this or that. I want to be, in my mind, as a football fan of the University of Texas and a former football coach here, say this was about that guy right over there that you paid that money to getting it done. And they need 2 of those because it's going to happen at least 2 times against a Tech or a Baylor or somebody of that ilk, or a K-State or a Kansas, where you have to make the play calls, coach, that's going to win the game. Execution, I understand all that part, but you've done this at practice over and over. You've run this play all week. You have to have the timing that this is the play that's going to win the game. I need to see that from him.
Yeah, before I respond to that and then ask you another question in regards to that, I want to give some love to another one of our sponsors, the Altstadt Brewery and Altstadt Beer. It's the best beer that you can find wherever you are across the state of Texas. If you're in Austin, if you're in Houston, if you're in Dallas, you can find Altstadt at HEB, Specs, Twin Liquors, Total Wine, Randall's, wherever you go to buy your beer, you can find the greatness of Altstadt beer. They've got a number of different brews, something for every beer drinker out there. And they've got two great ones this summer, the Altstadt Light, which sacrifices on calories but does not sacrifice on taste, and the Altstadt Peach Radler with juice from real Fredericksburg peaches. This stuff is legit. It is fantastic, super easy, and super enjoyable to drink in these hot Texas summer months. Pick up a six-pack the next time you're at the store. It is Altstadt beer. No impurities, no regrets. None of that for you, though, Buck. Just
None
remember
of
that.
that for me, brother. That's, you know what? But I know what the makers of some of these, like our good friends at Tito's and Brown Distributing. I understand what they do for the community. It's
Yep,
important I
absolutely.
mean, once again, there are people out there that can drink responsibly.
Yes.
I cannot. I'm not responsible when I drink. I can't
Yeah.
do it. There's so many of you out there that can do it, and good for you. But
Yep.
I'm not one of those. But from Allstat and some of the sponsors that we'll have coming along, can't be happier with my friends at Tito's and what they've done for me in the community. These are unbelievable community people that aren't just selling alcohol. They're doing things in the community. They're putting their money and their product, and they're recycling it right back into the community and doing some great things.
Yep. And shout out to our guy, Mike. He's giving you some love. And he says, sad you couldn't find a better guy than BK to do this with. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate the love and support there, my friend.
Come on, Mike. I
So
know
let me
he's
ask.
excited. He's so excited. There's so many people that are excited, BK, about us
Yeah.
doing this deal together. It's just, I mean, as you produce shows with myself and E. Hogan, there was nothing better than having a young guy who was an up and comer who understood sports, but kind of understood life. I mean, and I know, with you being in Houston and being from Austin and family in Dallas, you've got the run of the mill when it comes to sports in the state of Texas. So that was important to me in this venture of doing it with you. I wasn't going to just do this with anybody. I was going to, if it wasn't with you, it probably wasn't going to get done. I would probably just be playing golf every day from this point on. I really, really would. And speaking of a guy who's been all over, BK, for you, you're in your area, your Houston Astros are now leading the division. I went away, and when I went away, I mean, well, they're not leading; they're behind. When I went away, they were like a half game back, or even tied with the Rangers. Are they still back in the behind the Rangers right now?
Yeah, the Rangers actually lead the Astros by 3 games in the American League West right now. The Rangers haven't lost, Buck, since the trade deadline, right? They went out and got Max Scherzer. They went out and got Jordan Montgomery. Now, the Astros made a big trade, too, bringing Justin Verlander back to H-Town, and he had a very solid start in his first start again with the Astros. But no, the Rangers have been playing some great baseball as of late, and it looks like we've got ourselves a pretty fun race in the American League West. It's looked that way for a while. I think a lot of folks maybe thought the Rangers were going to go away because it's been forever since they made the playoffs. And well, the Astros just generally find a way to win the American League West, right? That's what they do. And they've
Yep.
done that in every full season since 2017. But now these Rangers, man, they look to be the real deal, and they're playing some really good baseball right now. So the Astros have their work cut out for them. Plenty of time, but they've got their work cut out for them to overcome this deficit right now in the division.
Well, while I've been gone, has Verlander pitched? I mean, has he pitched a home game? I mean, in Houston since he's been back?
Now, he pitched against your Yankees up in New York over the weekend, and he pitched really well. 7 innings, gave up just 2 runs, but the Astros didn't give him any run support. So your Yankees actually won that game in that series split at the stadium, as y'all like to call it
Yeah,
up
well,
there.
they should have. They've got 27 world championships. They don't have like two or three and banging cans and doing all that other stuff. We just win them. We just win them. No,
Well,
it hadn't been. It's been a while.
I was gonna
Believe me.
say, when's the last time? The Astros have
It's
won two now since your Yanks have won one. So living in the past right there, you're starting to sound like me with the Dallas Cowboys talking about all those past accomplishments, man.
and for your Rangers, this is a group now that's they are healthy now. Are they back to healthy? Or are they're getting banged up again?
Well, yeah, the Astros are actually the healthier team right now. It's the first time all year you've been able to say that, right? Because the Astros have dealt with so many injuries at so many different spots. But the big guy, Jordan Alvarez, is back. Jose Altuve, the little guy, is back. They've got Jose Urquidy back after missing a few months with an injury. So the Astros, look, still some guys out. McCullers, Garcia, Brantley, those guys haven't played at all this season. I don't know if
Will
any of them are
Brantley
going
ever
to play.
play?
I
Is
don't think
Brantley,
so.
is he going to be, is he going to, he's got a better chance of playing for the San Francisco 49ers as he does for the Astros, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, that shoulder, I don't think that shoulder is going to do too well on a football field either. Might have a better chance of playing pickleball than he does playing with the Astros right now.
Wow.
But yeah, but the Rangers now they've lost 3 All-Stars in the last 2 weeks. Their catcher, their third baseman, and the guy who was their best pitcher this season. All 3 of those guys got hurt, and there's no legit timetable for when any of those dudes
Wow.
are going to come back. So, sort of felt like that was going to open the door for the Astros a little bit. But even despite the injuries, the Rangers have still been playing some really good baseball. The Astros have too. It's not like the Astros have been playing bad, and that's why the Rangers have extended this lead. It's just the Rangers haven't lost in the last week and a half. So that's where we're at right now. And I will show a highlight because we have the ability to do this. It
Cool.
looked like, look, the Rangers are playing Oakland right now, Buck. They're the worst team maybe in the history of baseball. So they won easily last night, and they're going for a sweep today, and it'd be like a minor miracle if the A's were able to win one game. But the Astros are playing the Orioles. How about Baltimore? Best
Oh,
team
yeah.
in the American League right now. They've been a really good story this season.
Cal Ripken still playing?
Yes,
No?
Cal Ripken Sr.
he
and
is still
Jr.
okay.
Are both on the team right now in Baltimore. It's crazy. But no, the Astros were down 6-3 in the ninth inning, going up against the best closer in baseball. It looked like they were about to lose, and the Rangers were about to be 4 games up in the division. But here's what happened last night. How about
Wow.
that? How about a
What the
grand
Tucker?
slam? Yeah, when you're down by 3 in the ninth inning, how about a grand slam to give you the lead against the best closer in baseball and the best team in the American League? That was a big-time win for the Stros last night,
Boy,
bud.
that hurt the birds badly right there.
Yeah, it did.
Man, oh, man.
Yeah, it did. Baltimore's
Well,
trying to prove that they are amongst, look, the record says it, but they haven't done anything in the playoffs yet because this is a young bunch that hasn't been to the postseason in a while. Obviously, the Astros are the team to beat across Major League Baseball because they have just owned the postseason in recent years. You know, still 2 more games left in this series and a chance for Baltimore to bounce back and win these next 2. But they're trying to send a message to the Astros and maybe to the rest of baseball that, hey, this regular season isn't a fluke, and we actually are one of the best teams in the league, and we really can contend when we get to October. Last night, though, that stung.
yeah, well,
Like
the
you
defending
said.
champs decided we'll send a message and let you know how we are too.
Yeah, absolutely. As I bang into my microphone there, I don't know if you heard that one. Sorry
Oh no,
about that.
I like this setup. This is nice.
Yeah. How about not having to leave your house and not having to wake up at 3:30 in the morning, huh?
Yeah, I'm dodging the deer on the way out of Dripping Springs and the 1-lane roads out of here. It's comfortable. It really is. It really is comfortable, and we'll get more comfortable each and every day that we do this. And to be with to have time to spend with my doctor, Doc Trey, back in the fold with him is going to be weird and exciting at the same time. So,
Doc Trey.
yes.
Please tell me you don't go to Trey for any sort of medical advice. That'd be a disaster.
Well, I'm having a little arthritis in my pointer finger on my right hand, and Doc Trey is letting me know some of the things I need to do in order to get that all loosened up. Because speaking of the good doctor,
Oh no, you summoned the
I
doctor.
summoned the doctor. Man, it's good to see you.
Bucky, good to see you in the office once again. How's everything feeling?
Everything is good. That's playing golf with 4 fingers is not good. I stink as it is, but I really stink now.
We really need to work on getting that flexion back into place. You need the full bend for a lot of different reasons in life, but especially when you're out there on the golf course. And how has the sleep been since you were stuck in the Atlanta airport for a couple of days? Has the sleep been okay over the last night or 2?
Yeah, it really has. I tell you, it's very nice there, Doc. For me to actually go to bed now at 9:15, and so for years and years, I've been just lying to the public, to the people that have listened to me, because the pretense, and BK, you know this, and Trey, you know this, being former producers with me, when I'd come in from a Monday Night Football talking about the second half of games, did you think I ever watched the second half of football getting up at 3:30 in the morning? Are you kidding me? The games that end at 11 o'clock, 11:15, while you guys are watching those things, do you think I'm watching football or any of these games that start and end at 11:30? Monday Night Football, I don't even know the last time I watched an entire Monday Night Football game. I don't give a damn how exciting that shit was. You think I actually watched the game to the end of a game? I did see I saw highlights the next at 3:30 in the morning. When I got in, but
you're not watching Pac-12 after dark at like 1 a.m. on a Saturday night?
Well, I don't have to worry about that because there won't be any more Pac-12. I don't have to watch that football because they don't have football any longer.
Oh, man, that is true.
One more question from the doctor, Bucky, before I slink back into the shadows. Have those hemorrhoids gone down since you're no longer working at the Horn? Has that stress gone away?
You know what I forgot to take is my relax the back chair from them. But you can keep it. I'm not going back in there. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. My key probably doesn't work. I don't know if they paid the rent or whatever. You know, you still putting rent on layaway. Who knows? I probably can't get in the building anyway. They can keep the chair. I'll get another one from my guy Jason Caldwell over at Relax the Back. By the way, you've been dealing with Relax the Back. You've dealt with them before too, to getting some things done to your incredibly fit body.
I've bought so many massage tools from Relax the Back over the years. It's honestly a little bit embarrassing. And my favorite chair in my house is a Relax the Back chair that my brother won at the Mullet Open, and I had to pay him a couple $100 for. Great investment, by the way. I would have been happy to pay a couple $100 more considering just how great this chair is. It's what's in my office, and it's the most comfortable place to sit in my house too.
Yeah, well, I'm good there. And those folks that Relax the Back are going to do some really cool things. You know, I'm still going to do the tips for kids in the car line when school starts. And they want to give a chair in our area here in the Austin and surrounding area, and then give a chair away to a teacher down in the San Antonio. They have stores in San Antonio. They want to give a chair away for a teacher down in the San Antonio area. So we'll have to have a way of getting our listeners to tell us about their favorite teachers, so we can give that first semester, we'll give away a chair in this area and the San Antonio area from Relax the Back. And these chairs are, I'm not going to say pricey, but what's the price you pay for having the comfort for your back that you need, you know? Yep. So I'm looking forward to hanging with that group. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. And it's good to hear you. Good to see you. How's your trip in Colorado?
Trip's going great. I'm actually going to slink back into the shadows now. But as we've learned with toilet paper over the years, you pay for what you get. So the single ply versus the double ply, same thing goes for a comfortable chair. Y'all are sounding great this morning.
Thank you, buddy. Good to see you.
Talk to you soon.
You know,
there he goes. Doc Trey.
I don't know if I had single ply or double ply in that porta potty. It worked. I'll just say that it worked.
I'm just glad you had TP in there. I didn't even ask. I was worried that maybe you had just gone without even using it. But
no, I did look. That's the first thing I look at when entering airport bathrooms. I look to see, because I don't want to get caught in an airport stall and run into the next stall or asking a guy to hand me something from underneath. No, that's the first thing that is checked when I go into. I just can't believe this potty talk by me. I'm not a potty guy, but I'm telling you that. People don't understand. They do understand. There are people that are listening to us that are near my age, some of you, and understand that when there's an emergency like that, you're going to do anything you can not to do that on yourself. You're just going to, BK.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just.
You have better control at your age. You have more control.
You couldn't go to a gas station or anything.
No,
you had to go to your high school porta pot.
I was praying to my brother at the cemetery, praying, hey, give me a little love there. I got to make it. I can't do this. I've come out here to see you. Get me to a spot. No, I couldn't go to a gas station, filling station. Hell, if you're in this Austin area, they won't let you in these places. You can't go in. I'm sorry, you cannot use our bathroom. You're not allowed to.
Or something?
Yeah, you're not allowed to use our toilet. No.
Oh,
No, Buck. You look homeless. You can't go in there. Really.
That's amazing. All right, we are efforting the great Ricky Williams. We're doing a little texting back and forth, trying to get some technical issues resolved. So hopefully the link I just sent to the legendary Lifetime Longhorn works, and hopefully we'll get Ricky Williams on the show here.
And we're always on Ricky Williams' time. When the time that it is for him to be with us, it is always Ricky Williams' time. It just is. We are always on his schedule. That's how that works.
Yeah, you know that better than I do. While we wait and hopefully get Ricky on board, let's give some love to another one of our sponsors. How about Centex Tickets? They've got tickets to every sporting event your heart desires. If you want tickets to Longhorn games this fall, they've got you covered. If you're an Aggie fan and you want tickets to Kyle Field, they've got you covered. It's not just college football, though. It's the NFL, Cowboys tickets, Texans tickets, baseball tickets. If you want to watch the Astros, if you want to watch the Rangers, you can get all of your tickets from centextickets.com. And it's not just sports, concert tickets, Austin City Limits Music Festival, Broadway shows. I'm telling you, they have everything. You can buy them all online from the comfort of your own home. All of their tickets are 100% guaranteed. Our guy Shelby over there at Centex Tickets does a great job, and they are going to take care of you. Check them out online at centextickets.com. And Bucky, I think we've got the man of the hour. I'm going to let you introduce him because he's your guy, your former player. Why don't you be so kind and bring on our very next guest here on Texas Sports Unfiltered?
Well, joining us is one of my children. As a matter of fact, I have 4, but this is the 5th. And he is a lifetime Longhorn. He is one of the greatest players in University of Texas history, a Heisman Trophy winner, 13,000 yards in the NFL. He is my big boy, Ricky Williams. Ricky, good morning, my friend.
One of the greatest. Come on.
Oh, come on now. How are you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. Doing all right.
I wanted to call you Eric Lynn. I've never called you Eric Lynn. Yeah. And that is, people don't really understand, but that is your real name, Eric Lynn.
Yeah. When I was born, that's what they put on the birth certificate.
And now what do they put on the birth certificate now?
Eric
what would be
Myron.
on your birth certificate?
Eric Myron. That's on my social security card right now. And my driver's
really?
license. Yep.
Okay. Now, when I first heard you had changed your name, the first thing I thought is, what did you do to have to change your name to your wife's name, to your wife's maiden name? I was like, you did something. You're still not going to tell me. You're probably not going to tell the world right now, but you did something.
No, okay. I will tell. I will. It's a cool story. So most people know now that I'm into astrology. And so my wife is into astrology too. And one of the things we enjoy doing together is taking astrology classes together. And so a couple of years ago, we took a class on relationship astrology. And what we learned about our relationship was that it's skewed towards me, that most things in the relationship are going to tend to favor me and go my way.
Oh, I can believe that. Yes.
Yeah. And then you add that I'm famous, and everywhere we go, people forget that she's there, and all the attention comes to me. And so I realized, because a relationship to me is about equal partners, and there's things that make that difficulty. So I thought, what things can I do to make her feel more equal in this partnership? And to be honest, my history in relationships, I've never really been faithful. And so she was clearly aware of my history. And so it's kind of, again, just being real, coming out and saying, this is the person that I love. This is the person that I'm committed to. And there's no questions. There's no hiding. There's none of that. And so it's just about learning from my past and wanting to have a different future in my relationship and thinking of the steps that I can take to do that. And then when our son was born and the question came up of what's his last name, it just made sense. It made sense. So I took the opportunity to make the switch.
Well, then congratulations to you. That's fabulous thinking. That's forward thinking right there into more than just your life as a star, as a celebrity. You're thinking about someone who is now very important in your life, your partner. And that's to be commended.
Yeah.
I'm not changing my name to Pizer because I'm still the one. You know what I'm saying? Here's what you need to know. In my life right now, I've got the one, but I'm still the one. You know what I mean?
I get it. I totally get it.
But you had to go through so many things, Ricky, and for you and getting to know you and getting to be around you and I'm not even going to call them ups and downs. Your life has been filled with ups to me. Yeah. Those are just, the downs are just journeys, but your life has been filled with ups. And from the minute I met you and you thought you'd be an All-American linebacker and I
would have been. An All-American linebacker.
You'd have been Dat Win. That's you'd have been. How's that? No,
I would have. Yeah.
I just thought that, as I tell stories about you and meeting you for the first time. And I said that Ricky told me he was coming to Texas to win the Heisman Trophy. He never told me he was going to graduate from the University of Texas. He said he was coming to win the Heisman. Now, you did graduate from the University of Texas.
Eventually, yeah. And
it doesn't matter. You did it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wasn't coming to Texas to graduate, because I barely graduated high school. You know, it's like being a student really wasn't my thing until after my career. I was really so focused on being the best football player I could possibly be that when I looked at different colleges, I looked at what environment, what situation will allow me to be the best. And a big part of that was you and Coach Makovic. You know, I first of all, Coach Makovic, I believed in what he said, because a lot of head coaches, when they recruit you, they lie just to get you there. And I was a fullback in high school, and I wanted to start as a freshman. And so other schools that had tailbacks said, "Oh, we'll put you at fullback, and then when they leave, you know, we'll move you up." And I didn't believe him, but when I watched film and I talked to John, I felt like he gets it and he's going to give me a shot. And then when we started talking and connecting, you and I fell in love with you. I was like, this is like someone I really like and respect, and I could see myself being with them for the next 4 years. And then on top of that, when I took my recruiting trip and I was around the guys, I had that sense of family, and I was in. I knew on my trip that this is the place, Texas was the place that I'd be most successful.
Yeah. Is it true, Ricky, that you first wore the number 11 at the University of Texas because that's what Bucky wore in college, and you wanted to make that number more famous than he could?
It's kind of the story. I wanted to wear number 1, but it was already committed to Brian White, little receiver we had, and so couldn't wear number 1, and so I thought the next best thing was 2 1s, and then when I heard it was Bucky's number, I was like, yeah, I'll do it.
I'll make this famous. Yeah,
exactly.
And you also, and also at that time, there was the one of the fullbacks who had been at Texas that had 34, and you didn't want to take his number.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of respect for him.
Yeah, he was an upper class. I wasn't trying to come in as a freshman. I mean, Makovic wasn't giving me the number as a freshman someone else had. And then when Makovic left and Coach Brown came in, I saw an opportunity to make a switch, and so I switched to 34. And now people that aren't from Austin, they all forgot that I wore 11. So I actually didn't make it that famous. But.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That sounds good. That sounds good. And once again, I'll tell the quick story about the first game we played the University of Hawaii, and Ricky just had a fantastic game. And he and Sean Mitchell, the other running back, it was in the fourth quarter. The game, we had the game kind of in hand, and Ricky was having a great time and in this game as a freshman. And he and Sean Mitchell, the parents, your mom was in the stands, Sean Mitchell's family was in the stands in Hawaii. We had made that trip to Hawaii, which was one of the great trips for me because I had never been to Hawaii. And for me to go to Pearl Harbor, and you guys saw tears in my eyes, and I just thought of the memories that have happened at Pearl Harbor. And you guys as young freshmen didn't understand about Pearl Harbor. It didn't come into your thought process about being at Pearl Harbor. And to me, you know, I had people in the service. I had learned a lot about Pearl Harbor, and to actually be there, Ricky, it was eerie. It was a really weird feeling going over to the memorial and stuff. But in that game, you and Sean wanted to know if you can go and sit with your mom up in the stands. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? They're like, I mean, like, take your shoulder pads off. I said, oh, the game's over with. Well, yeah, the game is over with, but you have to be down here with the team. You guys were asking if you can go sit in the stands and sit with your family and watch the rest of the game. And I was like, you've got to be kidding. You two guys are really, and I think you guys really would have done that.
We would have said, you know, that was 1995. And I imagine in 2023, there's probably some coaches in that situation that would be like, sure.
No.
I mean, there's no rule against it. The game was over. I mean, it's funny because that was Sean and myself. It was our first, you know, big time college football game. And so we just knew what we saw on television and on TV, you know, in the preseason in the NFL, when the game's in hand, you know, you see him on the sideline with the shoulder pads off, just chilling. And I was like, we're big time now, so we should be able to go hang out. This game is in hand. This college football stuff is easy.
I did a terrible job not having you guys understand about that. Ricky, let me ask you this, and this is a question we started out actually about the show, and there's so many great memories you have in being around Mac Brown and the man who could talk a hungry dog off a meat wagon. But there's so many things going on in college football, and you know, with hazing and stuff like that. And your thoughts? I mean, you're such a forward thinker. To be a part of a team, the hazing that's going on. And I told BK that's the first thing that coaches are talking. You know, that first meeting that you come to, you know, the one that you were probably late to at the University of Texas because you probably were 15 minutes, thought you were still on California time and we were on Central time. those meetings now have that's a part of what coaches have to talk about, is how you treat people on your team, people that you want to become members of your football team, and what kind of respect you have to show to a kid that's 17 and 18 years old. There's no real age limit on how to respect people. And that's got to be one of the first things out of the mouths of high school coaches now and head coaches in college football.
Yeah, it's true, but I'm not sure how much they actually mean it. You know, I know they have to say it,
Yes.
and this might be a little risque, but I think when hazing goes too far and the wrong people are hazing, I think
Yes.
it's dangerous. But there is something about, and you see it in the military, you see it in contact team sports. There is something about when a group of guys come together and they're trying to accomplish something difficult, that they want to have some kind of inner knowing that the people they're around are not going to run away when the bullets start flying, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so, you know, and I think coaches kind of do their own form of hazing. I know the conditioning test and those first couple of
Sure.
days, or either way it used to be, there's those first couple of days of training camp, the first goal line drill, you're trying to weed out the ones that, you know, that aren't tough enough to make it. So I think maybe the hazing in that sense, not the kind that goes overboard, but this
Right.
true testing to make sure that everyone's on board, I think it's necessary for everyone to feel comfortable that I'm going to give my best. I want to know that the people around me are going to do the same.
Well, they can't. You can't tell the coach, no, I don't want to do this sprint. No. This is hazing. You can't tell. Coach is going to be, what are you talking about? You're not. No, I think this is hazing. This is not good for me mentally. I can't take one more sprint.
That's where it's headed. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's where it's headed. But it's a game, and at least my coaches, they said we make practice extra hard, so when you get in the game, it's easier. And to me, at least in contact sports in the military, that's really the spirit behind hazing. It's not trying to punish someone. It's not trying to hurt someone. It's an initiation. And so many indigenous cultures since the beginning of time have recognized the importance of these kinds of initiations that are preparing people for what they're about to face.
Yeah, it's always gone on in sports for sure. And it feels like, Ricky, and you tell me if I'm wrong on this, but it feels like a lot of times it's the players who are kind of leading the charge there, right? Obviously the coaches coach and they do their thing, but it sort of feels like a rite of passage where the upperclassmen, and hell, you probably saw it in the NFL where the veterans in the NFL kind of ingratiate you into the league as a young pup. That's sort of how it works, right? It's sort of the teammates just trying to make sure that those guys are actually willing to do what it takes for the team to be successful.
Exactly. And I think that's really at the heart of it. Even, you know, having to stand up in front of the team and sing the fight song, that's a form of hazing, but it's showing that you're not going to let your self-consciousness get in the way of actually performing and showing up for your teammates.
Yeah, you're not worried about your voice and what it sounds like. You're just being a part of a group. They don't care about your voice. They don't care about that anyway. They want to know how you're going to play. And then when things get tough at the goal line, are you going to make that kind of block that's going to get you in there for a touchdown? Ricky, let me ask you, I want to ask you some football stuff before we let you go. Bijan Robinson, you've got a chance now to watch this young guy at Texas for the years he was there, now with the Atlanta Falcons. Tell me, when you style-wise, of all these running backs that you've seen over the course, including yourself and Priest and guys like that, his style of running with the football over the last 4 years at the University of Texas, what did you think of his style? And I know you enjoyed this kid's character and what he brought to the university. Very similar to you. It was a personality that was very, very important to have on your team and around your community. But what do you think of Bijan Robinson?
I think what jumps out most is his versatility. You know, he catches the ball extremely well. He can run routes. He's got size. He's fast. He's explosive. But I think most impressive is his lateral movement at full speed. I mean, watching him make a cut at full speed, man, what he can do is it's amazing. And I feel like my prediction, he's gonna be somewhat similar to Emmitt Smith, you know, especially if Atlanta can play well, meaning someone that had a really good college career, but they went to the next level and they were able to really get the most out of their ability. And right now in the NFL, there's not a lot of teams that spend time and energy game planning the run game, you know, as most of them spend all their time in the passing game and they use the run game to keep the defensive ends and the linebackers honest. But one of the things about the Falcons is they actually scheme their run game. So I think Bijan's going to have a great opportunity, not only in the passing game, but in the run game to really do some special things in the NFL.
How do you?
I kind of
Yeah.
want to follow up on that real quick, Buck. You talked about the running game kind of being devalued right now in the NFL, Ricky, and that's been a huge story this NFL offseason. There's like a lot of really good, accomplished running backs got cut, got traded. Some guys still can't find teams. And it just feels like the NFL has changed to where people just don't care about the running back as much anymore. You, as a guy who played the position, what do you think about what's going on with that position these days?
Well, sometimes I feel like I'm part of the reason, where you realize because in some ways running backs are not dependable. I think there's two reasons. One, it's probably the most physical position on the offense for sure. And so running backs, they get banged up and their careers tend not to last as long as other positions. And I think too, the kind of person that signs up for that kind of punishment, a different kind of person. And
For sure.
Yeah, what I've been thinking about these conversations is that, again, there's not a lot of coordinators that even really, I think, know how to scheme a run game anymore. This is something that John Malkovich, with the motions and the shifts and getting people in the right position to get the most out of the run game. North Turner is another brilliant run game technician. These guys are not around anymore. And I think most of the brilliant minds in football are all geared towards activating the passing game. And so, unfortunately, until running backs start to become more active in the passing game, I think you're going to see the position be devalued.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time, and with the collective bargaining agreement, Ricky, that they signed into, guess what? You're slotted to make this money, and until that changes too, so that comes around, and you get a chance to have those voices and let people understand. Well, they understand how important you are. The team understands that. It's the guys who sign the checks that don't understand that. The team understands.
It's the team. The team's in a difficult position because when we look at it from a business perspective, it's a market. And
yes.
I'm telling you, I remember, so it was 2000, and I was with the Saints. Jim Hazlitt's first year coaching the Saints, and he was giving me the ball like 35 times a game. And we were on a streak. We won 6 games in a row, okay? And no one was stopping us, okay? I mean, we were running power down the throat of everyone. Week 10, okay? Head into the playoffs for one of the first times in Saints history. And week 10, I break my ankle. And I remember the look on Hazlitt's face. If I was reading his mind, he was like, I will never depend on a running back again.
That's it. I got to depend on the left tackle. I got to depend on my wide receivers and the quarterbacks, but I can go find me a bunch of these running back guys.
Yes.
They're not dependable.
Yes.
No, they're workhorses. You banged them up. You just said it. They're going to give you the ball 40 times. What do they expect is going to happen? Eventually, something bad is going to happen to that person.
Yeah. So it makes sense. That position that gets banged up the most, devalued. So what I say is the running backs, when they come out, especially big-time running backs, they should demand more money up front. And I think it should just be known that a running back's career top is going to be 5 years, And if he gets more, you can think of it as bonus. But taking that beating for more than 5 years, I just don't see it happening so much anymore.
And in the run game, you've seen them all, and you've studied them all. I mean, you would emulate anything you saw in a film. You would go out and try any Barry Sanders move. You would give it a try. You didn't even have to practice it. If you just saw it on film, you could do that. But it's hard to emulate or imitate a guy like Derrick Henry. You just don't. You don't do it. You don't watch a film and all of a sudden say, "Hey, I'm going to go out and run like Derrick Henry." Nobody runs like that dude. That his longevity and the punishment that he dishes out is incredible to me, and how he could do that week in and week out. And I don't care about his size, but I know where they hit him too. They hit him underneath the chin, under where the pads are, in the underneath the rib cage, those areas that are exposed, in his nuts. They hit him anywhere they can get a piece of him. He is going to get hit there. And week in and week out, that big son of a gun comes right back. If other positions got hit like that guy does, they don't come back every week and continue to play.
It wouldn't happen. And so, again, when I was younger, and it's important when you're young to be a little bit naive, so otherwise you wouldn't do anything. But now, being a little bit older and understanding the game, I think that 5-year mark, is really the sweet spot, because as you get older and keep going as a running back, especially when you keep getting better, the target on you just gets bigger. And so you're
Sure.
taking more shots, more teams are game planning. And over time, you're just going to wear out.
Let me ask you this. How was your podcast with Pat McAfee? We're in this is myself and BK's first day together now. I've been in radio for 25 years now.
Yeah.
How is he? He's been so successful. How is he as a podcaster?
I was impressed, because his skills, he can talk to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
He's intelligent enough that he can make a connection with anyone he's talking to. And I think because he played in the NFL, he's got background information to be able to really connect, especially to athletes.
So I got a chance. So we have a chance then.
You got a chance. Of course you have a chance. You know the game, and it's really, to me, a podcast is giving the guest the opportunity to express what they know and what's important to them. And so much of it comes down to the quality of the questions asked.
Go. I like that. Well, we'd be remiss, Ricky, if we didn't congratulate you, because earlier this week you were announced as a 2023 Distinguished Alumnus Award winner from the University of Texas, basically honoring everything you've done in your career. Pretty big deal, man. Congrats on that. I saw that come down a couple of days ago.
That's when they give you honor for getting your degree in your latter years. That's what that's about. Thanks for getting it done.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a big part of my story in the sense of I got in a lot of trouble, and I think people are afraid to be themselves because they're afraid of the backlash. But this goes to show, if you're going to be yourself, people might not understand you a bit right away, but eventually people will get it, and when they do, they'll appreciate you and they'll reward you for it. So
yeah, and it is that respect, Ricky, that you're talking about, and some people said I want respect, but you have to earn respect. It really is. I mean, that's something that you have to earn, no matter what walk of life you're in. You don't just give it. People just don't give you respect because you're 50 or 40 or you've been a great player. You earn that respect in all aspects. I think you earn the respect from people more so outside of what you're really, really good at. It's that other thinking that people say, wow, this guy or this gal is something really, really special away from what they call their profession. This is a good person. This is a unique person away from what they do. But I also want to ask you about another guy in your life besides AJ and 34 Wine and Spirits and how you guys are doing with the store. The Wine and Spirits store, let me just say this. You guys have been knocking it out of the park. This is something that has now been around Austin for what, 5 or 6 years or more now, that has been absolutely fantastic. And you guys are opening up new stores and doing new adventures. And business-wise, I'm thinking of my son and you, business-wise, you guys are really doing it the right way. Are you enjoy doing this?
There's something about doing business with family and people that you really care about. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to mix. But to me, there's this level of trust and the feeling of something feels good to go to work. It feels good to have calls about 34 Wine and Spirits. And so, I met AJ when he was 11, I was 18, and he really was like a little brother to me. And to be able to see him be successful and to do it together, it really has been amazing.
It really, really has. And the other person I definitely want to ask you about is, you've talked about John and how, John Malkovich was, and I tell people really never understood this guy, but John Malkovich let me coach the way I needed to coach. He never said, oh, no, take him out. We don't want to do this. Here's what I want to do. He always gave me the ability. I was around a couple great coaches. One was Tom Coughlin and one was John Malkovich. And both, well, Tom Coughlin kind of formulated what I needed to really learn because he was a special kind of guy. Being on time and things like that. But John just let me coach the way my personality allowed me to coach with players. But for you, Mack Brown, and I know you've had to talk about Mack an awful lot. I got to spend time with Mack when you were inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in New York. I got to spend some time with Mack and Sally. And your reasoning for staying at Texas that extra year and being around Mack Brown, what was special about Mack to you?
It's I'll compare the two because I was with John for 3 years, and what I love most about Coach Malkovich was exactly what you just said. Is he as a true freshman, he gave me the ability to be on the field and make my mistakes and to figure it out and do it my own way. And it was such a gift for a young football player. It really allowed me to find myself and to find my style. But on the personal level, John Makovic kind of had issues with people. Where now flipping to Coach Brown, I don't know if I ever saw Coach Brown coach football. I mean, he's like a leader and a politician, but I didn't ever see him coach an X or O. And when I was at Texas, I was thinking, like, did he ever even coach football? And then I saw the old pictures of him, being a coordinator, and I was like, okay, so he does know football. But his gift is just his ability with people. When he first walked in, I was like, who is this guy? I want to get out of here. I want to leave. And even the things he said, but he learns. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he cares about people. And so we had this long meeting. He said, I know you're probably going to leave, but you know the most about this team. So break it down for me. And we spent about an hour and a half, 2 hours of me telling him everything I thought about the team. And the next day I started to see him implement the changes I suggested. And after that, I was like, this guy listens. He's going to empower me as a leader. He has my back. And so it made it easy to make the decision to stay for my senior year. And then he came through on all of his promises. He was more committed to me winning the Heisman than I was committed to me winning the Heisman.
Wow.
And he did a wonderful job of supporting me and making me feel like I could do it.
Well, I'll just say this, and I've still been taking hits for 25 years over the fact that you didn't get 10 yards in a damn football game to have 1,000 yards as a freshman. And that's not my fault, because I was supposed to be, I remember this, and I'm begging to you to get these people off of my back today. My job was to coach in the game. My job was not to keep stats. And damn well, if somebody would have said you needed 10 more yards, people said that was my job. My job was to keep your stats of what was going on in your freshman year. And I said, that was not my job. Yeah,
it's true. So here's the reality of it, okay? It really goes back to the Hawaii game. Okay.
Oh.
It's not even the end of the season. It's really the Hawaii game. I think I had like 10 carries for 90 yards. Okay. And the 10 carries, come on, you can at least give me 15 carries, right? So if I would have had a couple more carries, 3 more carries in that game, I would have had 1,000 yards my freshman year. But here's the other part of the story. No one expected me a freshman fullback to run for 160 yards against the number 1 defense in the country. So, really, I should have had maybe 60, 70 yards, if that, against the Aggies. And then it wouldn't even been a conversation. But I just went off that game and I got close enough so then it looks bad going back to the Hawaii game. You should have just left me in the game.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. With all these,
you have to hold this against him, Ricky.
Yeah. Now don't hold it against me. But all these years of playing the a little bit of Southwest Conference, the Big 12, you missed the Aggies. They're back. SEC. We're back to that next year. Did you miss that game? Because when people will always ask me, I don't know if you've gotten this question. Your biggest rivalry. I know the Oklahoma game means a lot to Texas fans. But playing against Texas A&M, is that not the best of all?
Oh, obviously, you look at my stats in that game. You look at me breaking the record. When I first came on my recruiting trip, okay, the way the guys on the team would talk about the Aggies, you would think they were all 6'5", 250 pounds, running 4 threes. And they kind of were on that defense, but they were like afraid of them. And so it became this thing of, at the end of the season, we have our big test. And
right.
For my freshman year, for us to go to College Station and beat them the way we did, it really set the rest of my career. And I think that was really the turning point for the program. It culminated with VY winning the national championship in the Rose Bowl. But I think the shift really began that Texas A&M game.
Well, I know we got to let you go. I know you got things to do, and we're getting ready to go off soon. But I'll just say thank you so very, very much for all these wonderful memories. Thank you for taking care of my oldest son. You guys have done well together. You've been an inspiration to a lot of folks. As I said, the things in your life, this has been a wonderful journey for you. It was a wonderful time in my life, being able to be around you. As I have always told people, the smartest football player that I've ever been, not the best running back of all time and all this other stuff. I said, but he is the smartest football player who I think a lot of young players that are going to get an opportunity to listen to this need to understand they need to learn about the game, not just about the position. It's about all the other positions that are important. You knew everything that, as Octavius Bishop would say, Ricky, you need to run on this side. No, Octavius, you just need to make your block. I'll run where I need to run. You do your job, I'll do my job. And you knew exactly. You knew the players. You knew what they were capable of doing. You knew what the offense was all about. And my last thing is to ask you about a young player that doesn't get all the credit I think he deserves at the University of Texas, James Brown. You played in a championship game. Championships are hard to win. And for the Texas Longhorns, all eyes are on them this year with Steve Sarkisian in the last year in the Big 12. You were a part of winning the Big 12 for the first time, the first Big 12 championship over Nebraska. Your thoughts on James Brown?
Yeah, so my first experience of James was he was a sophomore when I came in, and he wowed everyone as a freshman, and so such a dynamic, electric player, made plays with his feet, made plays with his arms before we had black quarterbacks really doing this, especially at Texas, and it made my success so much easier. And people ask, who's the best quarterback you ever played with? The truth is James Brown. I didn't have a great opportunity to play with great quarterbacks in the NFL, but what James was able to do in making plays, it made my job so much easier. And the most difficult thing about football, I always say, is injuries. And this is an example of if he could have stayed healthy, not only would his career have been so much better, but Texas would have been so much better.
Well, that's interesting you say that. And BK, you got anything else for him?
I got to be selfish. But I know people will get mad at us, Buck, if we don't ask Ricky about the 2023 Longhorns. So y'all mentioned it. Texas won the Big 12 the first year Texas was in the Big 12. The Longhorns trying to do the same in their last year in the Big 12. Ricky, what are you feeling about this team? Do you think they have the chops to get it done here in 2023?
I mean, it's unfortunate. Like, this question comes up every year, and I'm a hopeless optimist, But I guess what I can say differently this year is I really like Sark, and I think, we've seen the past couple of coaches after a year or two, we started to feel everything get kind of stale and go downhill really fast. This is the first time where I feel like we're actually building and gaining momentum. So I have even more optimism this year than I have had in the past 15 years.
That's hard. It's hard to say at Texas, isn't it? But it's the truth, brother. It really is the truth. Ricky, once again, thank you so much, man.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. I love you. Take care. Take care of the new baby. I know you got your babies here in the Austin area, and it's almost, you are to the point of almost sending some of them off to college here very shortly. That's how long it's been. And of course, Marley back in Boston. Are you not a grandfather now? It's not just Ricky Williams.
Yeah, I'm a grandfather.
You are.
I just got to give a shout out. Yeah, the kids are about to go to college, but I've been prepared for paying for college because St. Stephen's, man, goodness gracious, it's like
it's like college. It is college.
It's like college.
What are you talking about? It is college.
But the good news is, though, your kids go to St. Stephen's, they're gonna get into a good college. Because Prince, he barely survived St.
He's
Stephen's.
like you.
But he got into all the colleges he applied to. So I was like, hey, it was worth it.
That's right. Exactly. The education around here and for your kids, and Asha, she's probably ready. She's getting close to that age.
She's a senior. Yeah.
Senior in high school.
Yeah, she's ready.
Well, once again, thank you so much. Thank you for taking care of my son. You're like a son to me. You've enlightened my life, and Ricky, and as you used to tell me, you think I can still have a drink.
Yeah.
Guess what? Today is my 23rd year of sobriety.
Wow.
And that, me, 23 years.
Well, I know. I remember the hotel rooms.
Let's not even go there. That's oh my God. That's from another conversation. We're about to go off here.
Hold on. We might need one of these. Hold on.
We'll do that the next time we get you in a podcast. We'll tell some of the night before the games and some of the the Liar's Dice games that we would play before, and who was in charge of the movies. Remember the movies that we had to go?
I remember the movies. The Tales from the Hood. Oh my God.
Tales from the Hood movies. Some of the worst movies the night before the games I was in charge of bringing and having the football players who were getting ready to play in the game eat a bunch of candy the night before the doggone games, and I was wondering why they were still up at 2:00 in the morning. Ricky, thank you so much, man, and be careful. Love you.
Thanks, Buck.
There he goes. Thank you, Ricky.
How
Awesome.
about that? Oh
Awesome.
no, they don't want you telling those nights before at the
No,
hotel.
I'm glad you teased it though. Next time we get Ricky
Yes.
on, we're gonna have to hear a couple of those stories, man, because I don't think I've heard enough of those stories, and I
Wow.
know our listeners are gonna love them too.
Yeah, you
Man.
wonder why I had to get sober?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's
Ah,
one of the reasons.
that was awesome, man.
He was fabulous. That's a fabulous young man, although he's now a grandfather. He's not
About
just a
that.
dad. Yeah, he's a grandfather. Ricky has a 23-year-old daughter
Wow.
that people don't know, Marley,
Yeah.
named after Bob Marley, of course.
There you go. Oh, no surprise with Ricky's history. That's amazing, man.
And interesting thoughts, BK, on running backs and what he talked about too. I thought that's intriguing. I mean, hey, you chose the position. This is what you play. This is the money that's going to be slotted for you. You're going to get hurt eventually. Not many running backs get through their careers, and he's saying about 5 years. That's it.
Yeah, and that's not what running backs want to hear, right? Because
No, they don't want to hear Ricky talking. They don't want to hear Ricky Williams talking about them. Believe me.
Well, you think about it, like Bijan Robinson as a first-round pick, right? The rookie contracts for first-round picks are 4 years plus that fifth-year option.
Mhm.
So if Bijan only makes it 5 years in the NFL, which I think he could be that outlier, by the way. Like he's not Derrick Henry size-wise, but I think he could be that Derrick Henry, Adrian Peterson type longevity-wise, because I just think he's that good of a talent, and I think he keeps himself in really good shape. But man, if it is only 5 years, that's one contract, and nobody wants just their rookie contract, right? They're trying to get paid.
They want the big contract, and as you said, the ability to catch the ball. You can't just be a running back anymore. Your game has to extend out to the wide receiver position as a running back. Those used to be the primo position used to be running back. It always used to be about Gale Sayers or Jim Brown or Barry Sanders or O.J. Simpson. It is now you have to be a combination of all of that and a fantastic wide receiver in order to get to that second contract. And it looks like the way the NFL is set up, they're not going to let you get to that second contract. Two other people are going to split the contract as you thought you were going to get. They'll get 5 or 6 people out of that contract.
Yep.
That's tough. That's tough at that position.
Yeah, the quarterbacks are getting paid. Hell, everyone's getting paid. Receivers are making $30 million a year now. Offensive linemen are making upwards of $20 million a year now. Pass rushers are getting close to 30, and running backs are struggling to get 10 right now. And they still are really important, but it just feels like teams have been able to draft running backs late in the draft. It feels like teams have been able to find, cheap free agent options on the streets, and they've had similar success to what the teams with the best running backs have had. And if you look in recent years, Buck, the teams that have won Super Bowls do not have top running backs in football.
That's
like
right.
The Chiefs had a 7th-round rookie as their leading rusher in the playoffs last year, and Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, and BK, I'm going to say that's one of those. I guess the way the offense is set, you can get away with that, but you're not. There's not going to be that many kids out of Rutgers in the 7th round to come out and do some of the dynamic things that he does. I know you can find a diamond in the rough, but you're not going to find a diamond in the rough every year like that. That's few and far between that a kid like that, because I keep hearing about what about Pacheco? What about Pacheco? Okay, when is it? Do you think you're going to find one of those that are going to come in the NFL this year or next year or the following year? Someone will say every year there's somebody that's close to it. That there's an exceptional football player right there. That's not just because he's in the 7th round. I mean, that could be a 1st-round draft, but you're not going to find many of those, I don't believe.
No, you win the Super Bowl because of the quarterback. Like
yeah,
if you have Mahomes, they could have you at running back, and they'd still be a playoff team. So yeah, that's teams realize that the other positions, I guess, matter more to winning a Super Bowl. You're right. I mean, Pacheco's maybe are tough to find in the 7th round, but it just feels like there are enough running backs coming out of college every year to where you can find somebody, as long as he gives you a little bit, they can make some things happen. Hey, before we wrap things up, got to give some love to a few more of our sponsors today, Buck. I'm going to talk now about Woods Comfort Systems.
Yeah, man, my air conditioning folks. Yes,
yep, they've got you covered, man. If you need a new AC system in your home, the Buck built the house a couple of years ago. He's got a Woods Comfort System AC set in there. Or, hey, if your AC setup isn't working right now, and you'll know if it's not working because it is hot as shit right now. Pardon my French. But, you know what? Not pardon my French. It's Texas Sports Unfiltered. We can get away with saying stuff like that. Now, these guys have been around for 60 years. providing top quality HVAC services, and they do plumbing as well. So if something's wrong with your air conditioning or if you're having plumbing issues, reach out to our guy, David Partain. He is great people, and he and the crew at Woods Comfort Systems will take care of you.
They'll send,
512.
let me tell you, they'll send Travis over here. And when Travis comes to your house, he's getting it done. He's not coming out there to talk with you and pet the dog. He's coming out here to do his work.
I love it. 512-842-5066 or check them out at woodscomfortsystems.com. And one more sponsor to give some love to, our guy Brandon Mars over there at Top Gun Lawn and Equipment Rentals. They've got an extensive selection of rental equipment for everything from small home projects to large construction jobs. All of the biggest brands, they will take care of you. They've been Austin's #1 source for all of your equipment rentals, sales, and supplies since 1996. 2 Austin area locations, one in Anderson Square up north, the other on South 1st Street down south. Check them out online at topgun.net. They will shoot you straight. All right, Buck.
Good job, man. This was an awful lot of fun. I mean, that's a long conversation with Ricky. Ricky doesn't give those long conversations like that often. So it was good to have him and get his perspective on things. And that's good to know that he has changed his last name because his wife told him to change his last name.
Yeah. When are you doing that?
Did I tell you who the king of the castle is here? Did you not hear me say that before? The king, there is still the king. Using the Godbolt name. And
you got to get into astrology then and start showing her a little bit more love like Ricky is showing his wife, you know?
Show her the moon. I mean, come on now. That's good. That's good to hear him talk about that, you know, and him being honest and upfront about his relationships and how his relationships are gone. But hopefully he's still continuing to build those wonderful relationships with his kids. Sometimes it takes a while, you know. You go off, you're a star like him, and you know a lot of that stuff becomes about you and what you have to do and how you have to keep your stardom. But I'm so happy that, you know, he's remarried. He's got a 2-year-old, but he also had children before that he feels responsible and he should feel responsible too. And he understands they're getting ready to go off to college. They have needs, and they need their dad. They need their pops around and still be really active in their lives. And I think with Ricky, as he's matured and gotten older, he understands how important that was because he did not have that in his life.
Yep.
He did not have his dad deep into his life where he would have loved to have had a father at his house. So a lot of things that he learned from his mothers and his sisters, but there's nothing wrong with that young guy. There's nothing wrong with him. And he's just, as I said, it's been a journey. And for all of us, it's a journey. I mean, It all depends on how you handle. You know, the ups are easy to handle. It depends on how you handle the downs. What do you do? How do you overcome those downs? But he's found a way to do it, and that's good for him, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, obviously a legendary football player, but also an amazing human being as well. I've been fortunate to get to know Ricky a little bit over the last few years through you. He is an even better person than football player, and we all know what he was able to accomplish on the football field.
For sure.
Yeah, obviously it's great to see you guys keep your relationship going for 2.5 decades plus now.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn cool that you guys are still as close as you are. And you could tell, man, whenever you guys get together and start having conversation, it's like y'all don't miss a beat, man. You guys kick it like old times, and it's fun to just kind of sit back and watch that too.
That is, I mean, it's just incredible. And we'll have to tell the pre-game nights at the hotel when I was in charge of curfews. Wow. How did we win a championship?
Oh, man. Yeah, we're going to need more of those stories. Bucky, congratulations, my friend. You made it through day one. I'm amazed. You had no technical issues this morning. You didn't need to call me. You were able to set everything up on your own, and you survived your first ever episode of Bucky and BK on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Well done, my friend.
Looking forward to it, BK. I'm looking forward to each and every day that we're together, and looking forward to the rest of the crew coming on and listening to the shows that you do with them. So I hope folks enjoyed this, and we don't need to give you 5 hours. 2 hours is plenty of good sports talk. You don't need 5 hours of it. 2 is just what you need.
Agreed, 100%. All right, the Buck and I will be back tomorrow morning from 8 to 10. Please like this video if you haven't yet. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. And don't forget, Trey and BK coming your way from 12 to 1. We're going to turn this into a podcast on Spotify and Apple. If you missed it, you'll also be able to catch it on YouTube as well. All right, until tomorrow, y'all stay safe, y'all stay healthy, And hook 'em.
Hook 'em.